Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's David Feldman-Makrias here, Bing Bang Boom. And today we are going to roast the crap out of an OEM vendor. Well, sort of. We already did that. Well, I already did that yesterday. I can be a little bit direct in my email correspondence, which we're going to get into, but this is more so just why is this even happening? Well, I know why it's happening. It's because the people that are the end user, the end client, don't have the bandwidth or the knowledge to actually make sure that their stuff is running properly. And that's why they need to look to local experts and national experts to help. And in this video, we're going to go through this email sequence. So basically, we're working through a certified partner of ours to run Google Ads for a new car franchise. And the reason we have to do that is because new car franchises, again, are sponsored by the manufacturer to get money back if they use certified partners. Our agency is not a certified partner. There's a lot of reasons why. And when you look at the quality of anybody that's backed by a manufacturer, it just really is templated, and there's not a lot of intricate thought that goes behind the details. And the devil's in the details, right? We're in this all the time at all different points, and it's just like when I see some of this stuff, it just pains my chest. But nevertheless, this vendor, I'm not going to name any names, but this vendor is one of, if not the biggest, certified vendor in the space. And I actually think that they have a quality company. But with the product that they're rolling out for this specific dealer is just not good. It's not good, and it lacks a true understanding of the needs. So without further ado, let's get into it. What I'm going to show you in this video is understanding Google Ads principles from other industries like e-commerce, and then applying them to car dealers and applying them to local businesses that rely on lead generation, understanding the complexities of the Google Ads account, and just honing in and focusing on the principles so you can have the best result. And just because they're bigger doesn't mean they're better. This vendor is national. It's sponsored by a lot of vendors, but the deal that they're doing here is just not good. So let's go through it. So we've onboarded them, and just so you understand our relationship is basically the Google Ads consultants. Like, we are basically, giving the strategy behind this information. So if we look here, let's go through it, and we'll read these threads backwards, and I'll show you my response. So basically, thank you for your partnership and time. On October 16th, the OEM vendor wrote, "Good morning, client team. Just some intro email material. Please let me know if you have any questions." Basically saying the campaigns have launched. I then wrote, "Okay, thanks, OEM vendor. We will be reaching out soon." Okay. Obviously, OEM vendor is not the real name of the company, but I am blurring everything out for privacy purposes. So when I looked into it the next day, and I had my team look into it too, I went, guys, this is not how we were supposed to structure VLAs, vehicle listing ads. We were supposed to have individual model breakouts for each VLA by campaign. What happened here? What's the disconnect? So now I start going on a tangent and just have a bunch of threads. Again, 2 minutes later, another thing. Our average CPCs are this high. This is so much higher than we have for any of our VLA campaign results. Then 3 minutes after that, I go, on a roll here. I hope you guys forgive me one day, but probably won't be today. Yeah, a little bit of humor always gets you a long way. This is why we have to break out certain cars into campaigns. I know we had multiple conversations about this. I'm disappointed, but let's get on this. So I included a couple screenshots, and I did not include the raw screenshots for privacy purposes, but I do have some material to show you what I'm talking about. So basically, the first screenshot here, guys, this is not how we were supposed to structure VLAs. There was no screenshot there. Another thing, our average CPCs are this high. This is so much higher than any of our other VLA campaigns that we run as an agency. So that's this guy right here. Blurred some things out. Again, I'm looking at the product level of one of our VLA campaigns, or for those of you that are unfamiliar with Automotive, it's similar to Performance Max product campaign. And our average CPCs are $10, $27, $13. I mean, that's crazy high. It's not supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be in the $2 range. So why is that happening? Well, part of the reason that's happening is because they didn't structure and organize the campaign correctly, which we'll get into. But that's why I initially went through and said, guys, what's going on with these average CPCs? They're really high. And then this one here, on a roll here, hope you guys forgive me one day, but probably won't be today. This is why we have to break out cars into other campaigns. I know we had multiple conversations about this. I'm disappointed, but let's get on this. So that screenshot is screenshot number 2. This shows that as we just launched, we spent most of our money, which is indicative of most of our clicks, on a 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat jailbreak, which is $87,000. And we actually almost spent like 50% of the budget on this car so far this month. That's because this car has a seriously high demand as far as search intent, because you got little kids Googling it. You just got people Googling it all over the place. But it doesn't showcase any of the bread and butter cars or the bread and butter products that this dealer has, which is more SUVs and more commonplace cars that we need to show up for. So it's like, this honestly, this is not the only vendor I see doing this. This is just people just putting stuff in Performance Max, not really understanding what happens and not looking at the results. What happens is if you have any type of specialty car, I see your clicks and your budget is just going to go out the window with that one specialty car. In reality, it should be excluded or it should be layered under a separate bucket, because no matter how much money we put at this campaign, you're just going to have more demand and more searches for that specialty car, and you're not going to get the amount of searches and the amount of impressions for the cars that actually need to be shown, like common SUVs, bread and butter sellers, all that kind of stuff. In a Ford example would be, we need Ford Escapes, Ford Explorers, those cars to show, or whatever they have in inventory. This doesn't go based off inventory. This goes based off search demand. So if we don't layer it right, then we're going to be screwed. And that's what I was trying to explain. You have to exclude certain things. So I said I'm disappointed. And OEM vendor wrote, working on this internally, we'll update you ASAP. That was at 2:15. And then we're going to get into her response, but my response to her response in blue. First and foremost, I want to apologize for my abruptness in my response, as I was caught off guard yesterday, but that does not excuse my tone. For that, my apologies. Again, just trying to capture more bees with honey. I also recognize that you are filling in for OEM vendor person 1, which is our rep. I appreciate your effort. However, I am still frustrated because the way this is structured will not yield the expectations for the client. Let me edit this. Will not yield the correct expectations and results for the client. As we've seen time and time again, structuring VLA campaigns a specific way will yield the best results. Please see my response in blue below. So this stuff is what she responded to. Black is what she responded to from her internal team a day later. And then blue is my response to her each response. Gets kind of crazy, but let's go. She says, CPCs are high right now because it has been less than 30 days since we launched and Google is still in the learning stages. It takes 30 to 60 days of learning for things to settle down. Kind of. You can still tell if something's wrong and not right within the first so many days. You don't need to wait 60 days to go, oh, our CPCs are high. There's something wrong. So I break it out like this. I sort of understand that, but 70% of the campaign's learning should happen within the first couple of weeks at most, while the remaining 30% happens over the time period you mentioned above. So we should be trending in better directions, and I'm going to put it now, sooner than that. The reason this sticks out is because high CPCs, especially when too many product ads are layered together, because high CPCs, especially when too many product ads are layered together, generally yields to higher CPCs in our experience, which is why we've moved away from this strategy. So again, saying why we're moving away from this strategy and that you didn't listen to our direction the first time. That's why I'm frustrated. Before we break this campaigns up by model, I wanted to let you know that this is not an ideal setup because if there aren't enough products for Google, where was I? Before we break up the campaigns by model, I wanted to let you know that it's not an ideal setup because if there aren't enough products for Google to choose from, then Google's algorithm will have a hard time determining when to show ads. It will also be awful for impression share. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. You really shouldn't have said that because now you nailed your coffin, essentially. So I go, unfortunately, this doesn't make sense. A couple reasons why. First off, PMax VLAs don't use impression share anymore as a metric because impression share is not available to measure inside PMax, which all VLAs are forced to use now. The closest metric we use to evaluate similar market and competition performance is click share. So she's talking about how a metric would be really bad, but the metric it's not even measurable inside these campaign types, which just shows she doesn't really know what's going on. It's okay. She doesn't know what's going on. It's not her fault. It's probably her team's fault because this isn't really her job. She's just stepping up to the plate, which is okay. We've seen PMax VLA campaigns with 10 VINs or less have great results because the budget is able to focus on those 10 vehicles rather than many more vehicles, which allows Google to saturate that product or vehicle in this instance. We learned this from e-commerce advertising, which I think we can agree is miles ahead of automotive advertising. Again, explaining the reasons why. Nevertheless, we do understand that we can be wrong and always can learn a thing or two. So we should test our strategy and see how our performance differs. Let's break out a few models the way we recommend to structure them and leave some of the other models for OEM vendor strategy. Please propose which models that would look like based on the original models we wanted to focus on from our setup documents. Also, regarding conversions, is there a reason we're tracking VDPs and SRP views as a primary conversion? Wait, before I go into that, we're just trying to get the campaign structure set up the correct way. I mean, whatever. Also, regarding conversions, is there a reason we're tracking VDPs and SRPs views as primary conversions? They're tracking views as a primary conversion. Well, a click over to the website is a primary conversion then. Oh, and get this, they're assigning a $60 value to a page view. Who gives a crap about a page view? Page views are essential, but we care about leads, phone calls, chats, all that stuff. Those are the primary conversion items. And guess what? They are tracking that too, but they're layering the primary conversion action items of leads, phone calls, chats, and all this stuff in with views. Don't do that. That is not a good way to set it up. That's just somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, and this is why I'm so frustrated because these guys are certified vendors, and there's all this stuff that's just not right. It's just not right. So also regarding conversions, is there a reason we're tracking VDPs and SRP views as primary conversions? Do we really want Google to prioritize its bidding on viewing results and detail pages at the same level as filling out a forms, chats, and calls? That doesn't make sense to me. So curious to know the rebuttal. I can't spell, but we knew that. Curious to know the rebuttal. As it sits currently, new VDP and SRPs are set as primary conversion actions through GA4, which puts them on the same priority level as service lead and trade lead forms, blah, blah, blah. And I think we can also agree that views don't mean the same thing to the dealer as leads, chats, forms, calls. Let me know if you think differently. Again, I'm being kind of sarcastic, but I don't care because I'm pissed. Also, and this is where I get into that conversion value stuff. Also, why are the conversion values of each page view set to $60? Are we saying that each page view is worth $60 to the dealer? Because I'd like some evidence to suggest worth $60 to the dealer because I'd like some evidence to suggest that's what it should be. Please advise. Once again, our ultimate goal is to see the best performance for the stores we represent, and it seems like we have a long way to go as far as account structure goes to get that performance and meet our clients' expectations. I know I'm not everyone's favorite person on this thread, but my team and I have a primary goal to give the best performance, and this is what needs to happen to get there. Everybody can always rally behind that, right? And I bring in my team and I. Regardless, there are a few options we could take to make this happen. That was from the person specifically. We can break it out by campaign if you'd like to assign specific budget to specific models. Please see above for my proposed testing strategy and suggest the models that are based on the original ones we talked about during setup and how we break this out. And then she did 2 other things that are irrelevant, so it doesn't matter. Let me know how you would like to proceed. Thanks for your responsiveness and the effort. And even though we're a lot of work to do, looking forward to your response and getting this back on track. I think I'm pretty nice, but it's just like, oh my God, these people are certified. They're supposed to be the experts more than we are. And they're not doing the basics. The basics. And that makes me crazy. Are they too big that no one's really paying attention? Or are the customers not knowing to ask the right questions? Who's auditing these people? I am now. And so is my team. Because we want the absolute best performance. And that's why if we're looking to automotive dealers to show if we're doing the right thing, we shouldn't. We should look at other industries that are way more cutthroat, like e-commerce. If you don't have your stuff set up correctly in e-commerce, there is no forgiveness. So, anywho, that's my rant. Like, comment, subscribe. Love you. Bye. Thank you.